Mangwana ni mwalelepo vukenjani xexwa ve Africa. Welcome to Africa Good Morning, the news and current affairs show bringing you everything you need to know happening on the African continent and beyond. You are joined by Ashwin Bedi on the 22nd of October, and these are some of the stories that we are looking at. South African pastor was accused of threatening witnesses, but the court ruled he didn't violate bail conditions. Zimbabwean controversial businessman denies link to contract for supply of Namibian ballot papers. And Mozambique police clash with opposition protesters, this after the recently disputed election. Do follow all our programs on oneup2.com or DSTV 285 and GoTV 25 in Namibia, as well as Network Media Hub on YouTube. Mike Sichula from Zambia and Rorisang Mogojwe from Botswana will be joining us to let us know the latest news stories from Zambia and Botswana, respectively. Stay with Africa Good Morning. Top stories shortly.
Welcome to Namibia, where adventure meets tranquility. With Enjoy, you have access to a wide range of accommodations to suit every traveler's taste and budget. Experience the finest dining and hospitality Namibia has to offer. Booking your dream accommodation is just a few clicks away with Enjoy. Join thousands of happy travelers who have trusted Enjoy for their Namibian getaway. Your gateway to unforgettable Namibian adventures. Visit us today at enjoy.my.na.
Paseka, Pastor Mboro can breathe a sigh of relief following a court ruling that found he had not violated his bail conditions despite allegations from a witness. Motswaneng, along with his bodyguard Clement Ballot and a close relative, appeared again at the Palm Ridge Magistrates Court in Ekurhuleni on Monday. The leader of the Incredible Happenings ministry had been granted bail of 3,000 rand on 12 September after presenting new evidence. Meanwhile, his bodyguard and the family member were released on warning. Initially, both Motswaneng and Ballot had been denied bail on 19 August. All the accused were ordered to avoid contact with state witnesses as part of their bail conditions. During Monday's proceedings, the state argued that Motswaneng violated his bail conditions by mentioning a witness's name in several media interviews. Now, Motswaneng accused the witness and her family of setting fire to his church in Katlehong, according to the state. In an affidavit, one of the complainants, Masiolo Margaret Mazala, expressed that she and her family feel threatened by the pastor's statements. Moving on to our next story, Mozambique police fired tear gas at protesters in the capital Maputo who had gathered at the scene where two opposition party figures were shot dead on Saturday after a disputed election. The full results of Mozambique's October 9 national election are expected this week, with early results showing that the ruling party Frelimo is set for another win. Opposition candidates say the poll was rigged. Frelimo has ruled the Southern African country since 1975 and has been accused of electoral fraud by opposition leaders, civil society and election observers, which it denies. The police are turning this into a violent protest because they are firing at us. We are here to demand the truth about the election, said protester Vladimir Manika, a 32-year-old car mechanic. This is a way to demonstrate that enough is enough. This regime must fall, he said. Now, Modlane said on Monday that the strike was a success and told protesters to go home after the clashes with police. Many businesses were closed in Maputo and streets were quieter than usual. Mozambique's Electoral Commission has declined to comment on accusations of fraud. US-based observers said the poll did not meet international standards for democratic elections, noting reports of vote buying, intimidation, inflated voter rolls, and other issues. Now, heading into the last of our top stories, speaking to the Namibian newspaper on Sunday, controversial Zimbabwean businessman Wikno Chivayo said allegations linking him to the contract with regards to ballot papers in Namibia are baseless. For the record, neither I nor my company Intratrek Zimbabwe or any other have ever participated in any tender involving the Zimbabwe Electoral Commission, nor have we been involved with Renform in any contracts related to the procurement of election election-related material or equipment, he said. This comes after a Daily Maverick report linked Chivayo to Renform, the company selected to print, design and package ballot papers for Namibia's presidential and National Assembly elections in November. Media reports have linked the company to inflated invoices during Zimbabwe's elections in 2023. Chivayo noted that Zimbabwe's Anti-Corruption Commission has not lodged a case against him. He further claimed the accusations are being sponsored by some small opposition political party in Namibia. I believe that speculation without evidence only serves to mislead, Chivayo added. The ECN has equally denied that there is anything amiss with the selection of the company. According to ECN, the allegations are false and misleading. At least 4 opposition parties have written to the ECN demanding that it should revoke the selection of Renform to supply ballot papers to the ECN. Representatives from 18 political parties on Sunday accompanied the ECN on a mission to Johannesburg to observe the making, designing and packaging of the ballot papers to be used in the Namibian elections in November. Those have been our top stories on Africa. Good morning. As promised, after the break, we talk to Sichula in Zambia and Rorisang Mogojwe in Botswana.
Neopaints has established a 67-year Namibian legacy, creating personalized paint solutions that blend quality and innovation for the Namibian people. We pride ourselves in being a 100% Namibian-owned company, investing in our country and our people by employing and empowering true Namibians. With every brushstroke, Neopaints commits to our quality guarantee and always delivering a coat of excellence. At Neopaints, we always stay true to our country. We are as Namibian as you.
All right, it's time for us to talk to Mike Sichula in Zambia. Mike Odibwanji.
Nirebuino Moribwanji, Africa, good morning to our dear viewers.
Africa, good morning indeed. Now, 3 constitutional court judges have been removed from the bench by President Hakainde Hichilema. The heat is simmering, Mike.
Yes, this is something that started with the president suspending the 3 judges, namely Justice Mungeni Mulenga and Justice Anistali, as well as Justice Pauline Mulonda from their offices. So the president did suspend these 3 judges almost 3 weeks ago, and now following a recommendation in the report presented to him by the Judicial Complaints Authority, it has given President Hakainde Hichilema leverage power to remove the 3 judges, and this was according to a statement that was issued to the media by State House Chief Communications Specialist Cresson Hamasaka, who did not give any further details. And this decision has actually attracted political lawyers against the administration of President Hichilema, as well as a strong critic of President Hichilema, historian Sichula, who says the number of judges fired by Mr. Hichilema in 3 years is more than the total number of judges fired by all 6 presidents in 57 years. This is subject to verification. So the background to their suspension and removal from the Constitutional Court emanates from the 2016 presidential petition, which President Hakainde Hichilema lost to then President Edgar Lungu, and Mr. Hichilema viewed the 3 constitutional court judges as being behind the abrupt end to the electoral petition that declared Mr. Lungu as the duly elected president back then.
All right, Mike, we'll certainly be keeping an eye on that. We don't have a choice. It's one of the leading topics throughout Zambia. And, you know, there's several perceptions with regards to how Hakainde Hichilema is moving, Hichilema rather. Now, in your second story, Mike, a Congolese singer has made an artistic plea for people to be conscious of their harmful actions against Mother Earth. I believe you're talking about one of my favorite artists who practices in Zambia, Mumbayachi.
Yes. Mumbayachi, you are absolutely right. He is a Congolese artist, but he has made his mark in the Zambian musical and entertainment industry. So he's one of those talented artists. In his artistic expressions, he sometimes turns on a stage in outfit that raises eyebrows among some sections of society. And behind these strange outfits, there's usually a deep message aimed at speaking much needed controversy. So in his recent outfit that can be seen there in the picture, he walks on stage wearing a black plastic garbage bag on his body, a plastic bag on his head, and carrying a brazier in his hand, has delivered a powerful message about the impact that human beings are having on the environment. Zambia predominantly uses a brazier uses charcoal that is cut from made out of trees, and this is contributing to environmental threats. So according to him, he wrote, humans' activities are suffocating Mother Earth. One thing for sure is that if we don't play our part well, we and our children will pass, and Mother Earth nature is Mother Earth will recreate itself without us. End of quote. And he said that on his social media pages. And this has also attracted support from civil society organizations who are urging government to ensure that issues of climate change, issues of environmental degradation are given the attention they deserve.
All right, Mike, moving on. Zambia has been ranked as the highest performing African country in improving living standards, this by Afrobarometer. Tell us more.
Yeah, this comes despite inheriting an economic living under heavy debt and mismanagement. Zambia has made great progress in poverty reduction, according to the latest Afrobarometer report. The report released to mark the International Day for Eradicating of Poverty ranks Zambia as the highest performing African country in improving living standards with a score of 54%, closely followed by Tanzania at 51%. So some of the key initiatives driving Zambia's success include, in the report, include social protection programs, as well as social cash transfer, emergency cash transfer, and timely distribution of farming inputs to rural farmers. So this is something that has excited the administration of President Hakainde Hichilema, who through their party deputy media officer said that this is a reflection that the policies that President Hakainde Hichilema has put in place are bearing fruits, because eradicating poverty is one of the key ways that can help rural communities contribute to economic development.
Kudos to Zambia. Of course, we know there are several issues right now with regards to different things, but it's always good to see a positive trajectory for the nation. Now, in sports, Mike, the Copper Princesses have crashed out of the ongoing Under-17 World Cup being held in the Dominican Republic.
Quite unfortunate, because the expectations were high among Zambian soccer fans that the Copper Queens, returning to the World Cup for their second time, were going to make an impact and do better than they did the last time they were there. So this time, last time the Under-17 went to the World Cup, they did crash out in the group stage, but they won one match. But this time they have lost twice, and the next match is against Japan, who have already qualified to the next round on 23rd October. So this their loss to Poland by 2-0 was their second defeat at the tournament, after narrowly losing to 1-0 to Brazil in their opening match. So despite this exit, Carlo Kanyembe, who is the coach, said the team will look to end their campaign on high when they face Japan in their final group deal fixture tomorrow. And Carlo Kanyemba is actually the first female Zambian coach, both male and female, to qualify a team to the World Cup. So in terms of her personal achievement, this is a great news for her. But in terms of beating the record that was set by the other coach who took the team to the World Cup, she has not beaten that record, because she has not qualified the team to the next round. But in terms of experience, the current crop of the under-17 are viewed as a potential replacement for the likes of Babla Banda, Rachel Kundananji, amongst other Copa Queens superstars.
All right. Thank you very much, Mike, for bringing us the news stories as they are from Zambia.
Thank you very much. Africa, good morning to our dear viewers.
Africa, good morning indeed. From Zambia to Botswana we go as we talk to Rorisang Mogojwe. Dumelang Rorisang, good to have you back on the show. How are you this morning?
Dumela Ashwin, thank you very much for having me. I'm good, but it's a wild time out here in Botswana.
Good to have you back. So let's get straight into it. It's election season and the opposition parties pledged to join UDC's march against alleged foreign involvement in Botswana's elections. Tell us more about that.
Yes, as you just mentioned, it is election season in Botswana, and it's what many call the silly season. So the backstory is that last week there were reports that a delegation made up of members of the ruling ZANU-PF party of Zimbabwe, as well as the Zimbabwean Electoral Commission, were in Botswana on what many say is an election rigging mission. It is believed that some members of the ruling ZANU-PF party, as well as some Zimbabweans, have been registered to vote right here in Botswana through fake IDs and fake ballot papers which have been prepared. So with this news and with these allegations, which of course have been unconfirmed, the opposition parties, mainly the coalition party, the Umbrella for Democratic Change, have decided to go on a planned protest to march to the Zimbabwean embassy right here in Botswana. And other opposition parties, of course, they are joining them as well because they believe that they're not gonna just sit back and watch the ruling party try to rig elections or try to steal elections. So really, the planned protest is to march against this alleged foreign involvement by Zimbabwean officials, and they're really trying to say to the Zimbabwean government, please back off of the electoral process right here in Botswana. We want free and fair elections, and therefore they are having a march. Of course, the Independent Electoral Commission has denied all of these allegations. They're calling them reckless, they're calling them baseless. They're saying no, we are not trying to rig or to steal any elections. Everything will be free and fair. But there's also reports that the same Independent Electoral Commission in Botswana has been to Zimbabwe before to benchmark with the Zimbabwean officials and what they did that side. But of course, it's also problematic because right after the Zimbabwean elections, SADC came out as well as the AU came out and said the Zimbabwean elections were not free and fair. So it's really wild. It's really it's a lot going on here. But essentially, the opposition parties really need to do something about what they call is an election rigging mission
Yes.
by Zimbabwean officials.
All right, Rorisang, we're going to have to end with elections. You with your second election update. We're a little pressed for time, but the Independent Electoral Commission came under fire after a controversial advanced election weekend marked by widespread ballot shortages and chaos at polling stations. Tell us more about this before you say goodbye.
Yes, last weekend there was an advanced polling. This is for people who are supposed to be running or who are supposed to be working during the election day on the 30th of October. So these are people who usually vote first and the cast their vote first, which is the police or the law enforcement officers as well as the polling officers. However, some of them did not vote because there was a shortage of ballot papers, and therefore, or due to this, it caused nationwide disruptions, it caused chaos, and therefore the Independent Electoral Commission came under fire, of course, from all facets of society, including opposition parties as well as the ruling party, who then said, you have to fix this, you have to be ready because the elections are just about a week away, and now there's a question as to whether the Independent Electoral Commission is actually ready to hold free and fair elections. on the 30th of October. But in conclusion, the IEC then said anybody who was not able to vote this past weekend will vote during this coming weekend. So I will bring more updates to you about that.
All right, many thanks to Rorisang Mogojwe bringing us the news stories as they are from Botswana, and we'll certainly be getting updates as the election nears. Well, actually, election process is well underway. Let's have a look at the weather predictions. All right, quickly in economic news, Africa has seen the capacity of its ports grow significantly over the years, but a report from the Africa Finance Corporation says the expansions, upgrades and investments have not led to better inland logistics and supply chains. Since 2005, African ports have received an estimated $15 billion in investments, allowing them to accommodate larger ships and offload more cargo for transportation across the continent. According to the African Development Bank, port development has led to increased traffic. Between 2011 and 2021, container units passing through African ports increased by nearly 50% from 24.5 million to 35.8 million. Gabriel Sonovu, a specialist in logistics and supply chain management based in Guinea, said port investments have multiple benefits. Let's have a look at economic indicators just before we head to the sport. Quickly into the sports news, Namibia's newly appointed co-coaches John Sikarete from Eshokia Chula and Kati Nambandi of Mighty Gunners have revealed their preliminary 36-player squad in preparation for the Championship of African Nations qualifiers. The Brave Warriors are set to face Lesotho in a two-legged matchup, aiming for a spot in the Chan tournament slated for February 2025. The squad, featuring top players from various domestic leagues, gathered at the NFA Technical Center to kick off their training camp. A notable highlight from the squad announcement is the return of veteran striker Willie Stefanos, the leading goal scorer in the Premier League for the past 2 seasons. This selection reflects the rich talent pool in Namibian football and the ongoing commitment to nurturing its local players. And in our second and last sports story, Aryna Sabalenka, the reigning US Open champion, has ascended to the top of the WTA rankings, ending Iga Swiatek's lengthy 11-month reign at number 1. The Belarusian, who also defended her Australian Open title this year, is now atop the rankings for the second time after previously holding the position for 8 weeks between September and November 2023. Those have been our sports stories. Let's swing into the highlights before we say goodbye. All right, those have been our stories right here on Africa Good Morning. We spoke about controversial business, Zimbabwean man denying any involvement in the ballot printing with regards to Namibia, as well as Pastor Mboro of South Africa being accused of threatening witnesses, but the court ruled he didn't violate bail conditions, amongst other stories. Mozambique police clash with opposition protesters, this after a disputed election, was also one of our highlights. Those have been our stories on Africa Good Morning, DSTV 285, GoTV 25, OneUp2.com, and Network Media Hub. Suraj Kanaka.